Let's talk about the strongest gods in Ragnarok. Today I'm going over some theories, predictions, and what gods I have the most faith in, covering which ones I think will be the strongest by the series conclusion. Most people already agree that Zeus is most likely the strongest god, or at least out of the ones we've seen so far, with him having some final boss vibes to him, and with him being described as the supreme god and the peak of the gods, which kinda gives the idea that he is the strongest, alongside another god, Odin, who could be the final boss, and I do see him being one of the final gods to fight in the tournament, and may even have more story significance than Zeus at some point later in the story. I do see something crazy happening with Odin, and there are a lot of theories about him going around throughout the fandom, with one of them being that he's a traitor, which I don't fully agree with, or I don't subscribe to that theory. Let me know your thoughts of that down in the comments. I'm aware that Odin is a Nordic god, and that when Thor was introduced in his round 1 fight against Yubu, he was described as the strongest Nordic god, but I think that may refer to raw power, and that Odin may have some type of hacks which makes him on the same level as Zeus as a god, in turn one of the strongest gods, by default. He's already demonstrated his Chadness alongside Zeus, with them stopping the battle between Team Buddha and Team Loki, with that being one of the hypest moments and panels in the whole series. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the final god to fight. Let me know down in the comments what human you think Odin will fight in the tournament, and whether you think will be near the end or maybe in the next couple fights. Now to go over some other gods on the fighting list who I think will most likely be some of the strongest gods in the series. Help me reach my 2021 goal of 100k subscribers by subscribing if you're new to the channel or you just haven't already. It's free and easy to do. Also consider checking out the description for the Discord server and my Twitter. Now enjoy the video. And of course we've got to talk about our boy Buddha, who has changed sides and is fighting for humanity. In my prediction video about who I think Buddha will be fighting, I predicted various outcomes such as a traitor human, another god, with my main theory and what I'm going for until the reveal is he's going to be fighting Loki, and I do think Buddha is going to win and most likely stomp Loki. Not like a 0 difficulty, maybe like a 20 to 30% difficulty, but I do think Buddha's going to be an absolute monster. We've seen him at various points having quick little scuffles with Zeus. As we know, Zeus most likely the strongest god, showing his speed to eat the chocolates before Zeus could get any, which I guess is pretty cool and pretty impressive, and also have hostility towards other gods and not scared to fight multiple at the same time. And of course him regarding himself as the strongest god, which implies he has some insane power. Can't wait to see his fight in the next round, whoever it's going to be. I think he's going to win unless Odin comes out. So if the next fight is Buddha versus Odin, I have no idea who's going to win that, but if it's anyone else that isn't Odin, I do think Buddha's going to win, and it's not going to be an insanely tough fight, but it's going to be hype as shit, and Buddha's going to show how strong he truly is. So can't wait for that. A lot of hype going into Buddha by the fandom, with a lot of people considering him their favorite character, and I hope he lives up to this hype by stomping his opponent. Another god, or I should say devil, I think will be most likely one of the strongest characters in the series is Bezel Bob, who's on the god side to fight at some point. If you didn't know, it depends what mythology or what religion you follow. Bezel Bob is sometimes referred to as Satan or just a major demon. In some cases he's the prince of the devil, so there's various ideas of what Bezel Bob is, and it really depends which one will be used for Ragnarok, and I believe he'll also be representing the demons alongside the gods, and is most likely the strongest demon or devil we have in the series Ragnarok. So with that, I would automatically assume he is one of the strongest characters in the series. Maybe he's the equivalent of Zeus for the devils. We haven't seen too many devils or demons throughout the series. We've seen a few in some backstories, and we actually get to see a few in the trailer of the anime, so we may learn more about them as the story goes on. If we do, I'm assuming Bezel Bob will be the strongest one and will be an absolute monster in his fight. I'm assuming he's going to fight Kintoki in his fight and most likely win. My assumption is Bezel Bob is going to win his fight as the strongest demon, which is going to be absolute hype. But yep, let me know your thoughts of Bezel Bob down in the comments, who you think going to fight, and whether you think he'll be one of the strongest gods or characters in the series we've had. Now I'm going to talk about some gods who are not on the fighter list to represent heaven, but I'm assuming are absolute powerhouses and may be stronger than some gods on the fighter list. First, I'll talk about Hermes. He is taken a pretty major role throughout the series, and that's to explain the abilities of various gods or various humans while the fights are occurring, with him being able to keep up with Adam's counterattack when he was fighting Zeus, and he was the god who explained the fist that surpassed time, with Ares was absolutely shocked, everyone else was pretty much shocked and had no idea what happened, while Hermes was one of the only people who was aware what happened and explained the fist that surpassed time that Zeus used on Adam and that Adam used on Zeus shortly after. So with that alone, you could say his observation skills or analytical skills are far above everyone else in the series apart from Zeus and Adam who actually used the attack, so that by default means Hermes will be quite powerful. And he's also shown in some backstories such as Poseidon's backstory where he killed Adamas being quite sus, so Hermes I believe will have a major role later in the story, maybe near the end of the tournament, or if the story continues after the tournament, maybe an invasion from the demon realm, maybe humanity fighting a war against the gods, maybe they lose the tournament and the gods can't handle losing, something crazy like that. Maybe Hermes is like an evil mastermind who's been planning to take over as the supreme god since the beginning of time, so who knows, could be some crazy stuff happening with Hermes later on. But even if we don't get any of that, I'll just by default assume Hermes is most likely one of the strongest gods. But while saying that, it is very possible that he's maybe one of the smartest, if not the smartest god, but he doesn't have any raw power or fighting abilities, because we've only seen him use his violin throughout the series, but he did kind of show some type of weapon at some point, so I assume he is a fighter as well. I wish Hermes was on the fighting list with all this build up he's gotten through the story, but I do think something crazy is going to happen later in the story with Hermes showcasing his power, or he could very well go out and fight Buddha in the current round, so that would be crazy as well. Another god who I think will most likely be one of the strongest in the series, who isn't on the fighting list and isn't shown in the series thus far, he's only mentioned, and that's Hades, the eldest brother of Zeus and the first son of Kronos, with him in various religions such as the ancient Greek religion believed to be the god of the underworld. So with that you can say Bezel Bob maybe isn't the strongest demon, or maybe is the demon that Hades sent to fight, and maybe we'll get to see Hades in his fight as well or something crazy like that. Or like I mentioned before, maybe a war between the underworld and heaven occurs and that Hades is fighting against Zeus and all the other gods or something crazy like that. Maybe a spin-off manga where we could have that. We did see the prospects of a war already shown in the story with Adamas wanting to overthrow Zeus, but we didn't know what happened to Adamas. Poseidon came in and enrolled in, so maybe a crazy war between Hades and Zeus to, you know, own everything there is to be would be absolutely insane. But yep, those gods I consider to be the strongest in the series, and I have the most faith of them being the strongest. Let me know what gods you think will be the strongest in the series down in the comments, and yep, that's it guys, peace.